Southeast and south-central Alaska's extensive coastline has been supporting Tlingit, Haida, Tsimshian, Eyak, and Alutiiq native cultures for more than 10,000 years. Coastal communities have adapted to advancing and retreating glaciers, sea level changes, tsunamis, fire, colonialism, and forced relocation. In the 1700s, the Huna community relocated due to advancing glaciers, and as recently as 1964, the Chiniga community was evacuated and relocated following an earthquake and tsunami. The coast of Southeast Alaska is still changing today. Sea level rise is drowning some coastal areas while other areas are emerging as the glaciers retreat and the land rebounds upward. In these island Alaska communities not connected to road systems, more than 80% of people rely on locally collected resources. Alteration of resources disproportionately impacts rural communities. I, along with 21 other student interns, held discussions with members of 14 communities in Southeast and South Central Alaska to talk about local foods collected. In total, we had 223 discussions with fellow community members. 60% of discussions included people who considered themselves Indigenous Alaska Natives. On average, people reported collecting or harvesting natural resources 45 days out of the year, but 10% reported collecting or harvesting on more than 100 days of the year. Together, we summarized over 100 species of plants and animals that are gathered and harvested, supporting community, food security, and cultural way of life. 80% of the community members we contacted described the seasonal nature of collecting and harvesting. For example, cockles and clams in the winter, halibut and crab in the spring, berries and sockeye salmon in the summer, and deer and coho salmon in the fall. 26% of people in our discussions were concerned that climate change was affecting their harvests and noticed changes in the timing of their collections and their harvests. 90% of people reported that they harvested salmon. 83% harvested halibut, and 47% harvested herring, and herring eggs, among other species. In this study, 83% of herring eggs harvested were by Alaska Natives, who sometimes travel great distances to place hemlock boughs close to shore where the herring are likely to spawn. The most common community concerns about salmon, halibut, herring, and seal were possible population declines, but for sea otters, communities were concerned about increasing populations that have impacts on resources like clams. Community members also mentioned concerns about possible pollution, overfishing, and stream habitat degradation. Along coastlines, 66% of participants reported collecting cockles, 58% collected gumboots, a type of chitin, and 52% collected butterclams and black seaweed, among other species. Nearly 90% of black seaweed and gumboots were collected by Indigenous peoples. Concern about toxic shellfish poisoning was shared by over 30% of clam, cockle, and steamer collectors who participated in this study. This concern kept some community members from collecting at all. The Sitka Tribe of Alaska Environmental Research Lab and Southeast Alaska Tribal Ocean Research Partnership regularly tests for shellfish toxins at some popular community harvesting beaches and has found toxins year-round at some sites. Other shoreline concerns include possible pollution, sea otter predation, overharvest by both humans and otters, and impacts of ocean acidification. Modified harvesting methods for resources like beach asparagus, such as cutting instead of pulling the plant, were suggested to address concerns with possible plant damage. We found that participants collected 13 berry species, with 85% of people collecting salmon berries, 81% collecting blueberries, 66% collecting strawberries, and 60% collecting huckleberries. Fewer than 10% of berry harvesters in our study shared concerns including possible pollution, reduced numbers, invasive species, and the effect of urbanization. Transportation to harvesting sites affects both the cost and safety of harvesting and collecting resources. People from coastal communities often rely on boats because road access is limited, and this can be a significant concern. Communities shared concerns about current harvest regulations and a lack of communication between communities and regulators. People expressed a desire for regulations more focused on sustainability instead of profitability, and want more recognition that cultural community collection practices are often fundamentally at odds with regulations based on individual quotas and inaccurate consumption rate. Suggestions were made to limit commercial activities near important cultural harvest areas. Over 40% of discussions encouraged youth to learn more about traditional and cultural harvesting from their elders. This education sustains mindful practices that not only provide healthy food to communities, but also teach youth about their local environment and foster future caretakers of the land. By conducting these discussions, we as students were able to engage with our elders and learn firsthand the importance of our local resources for supporting strong, healthy communities. Southeast and South Central Alaska is home to resilient peoples that have generations of important observations and knowledge to share. This knowledge can help guide relevant, timely research that will better enable everyone to deal with future change. Indigenous Alaskans who have always had an intricate relationship with the land are sensitive to habitat and harvest alterations and can help everyone understand the consequences of environmental change both locally and globally. To the elders and other community members who generously participated in these discussions, we say Gunishchish, Hau'a, Doichin, and Goyana.